ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وبعد from the book of منهج السالكين وتوضيح الفقه في الدين with صلاة الإستسقاء. صلاة الإستسقاء. It's time to talk about the witr. And now, inshallah ta'ala, صلاة الإستسقاء, which is part of the main subject, and that is صلاة التطوع, the optional salah with the voluntary salah. Voluntary salah. So, صلاة الإستسقاء comes into the meaning from طلب السقيا. You ask for السقيا, asking for water, asking for rain from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the first mas'ala, or the first point, he says, وصلاة الاستسقاء سنة إذا اضطر الناس لفقد الماء. صلاة الاستسقاء is sunnah, recommended, and as we said, the word sunnah, if it's in the books of fiqh, it means recommended. If people do it, they get rewards for doing it, and if they don't do it, there's no sin. Sunnah إذا اضطر الناس. It's a recommended thing if people are in need and they are in dire need because of lack or shortage of water. So they would make the salah and they would make the dua asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for rain, whether there's no rain or if the earth or if there are vegetations and so on, it needs water and there's no water, right? So it's not necessarily for rain, it's for either for the rain or for, which is usually there's the connection between both. And whether it's, of course it's recommended, and if people do not need much of it, but they can still do it and it's still permissible. For example, they had rain, but it wasn't quite enough, right? They want more. They can make Salat al-Istisqa also. None of the ulama, they said it's mandatory, but they're between whether it's sunnah or kada, it's a very stressed sunnah, something recommended, or something mubah, or something permissible. And some said that only what is needed is the dua, because the Prophet ﷺ did sometimes only dua, as we will see inshallah in some of the hadith, which he did mention in here, but at the end inshallah ta'ala, when a man entered the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, while the Prophet ﷺ was giving khutbah, khutbah al-Jumu'ah, and he asked the Prophet ﷺ to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He told him that, O Prophet of Allah, the animals are dying and the vegetation are, no water and so on. So the Prophet ﷺ made dua during the khutbah of al-Jumu'ah. So it was dua. In another incident, the Prophet ﷺ made salah, and he called the people for them to meet the next morning for al-Istisqa. The Prophet ﷺ went out with the people, and this was, he gave them a specific time, right when the sun is about to rise. So it was in the early morning after Fajr, and before just at sunrise. This is what the Prophet ﷺ met the people and gave them khutbah and the 2 rak'ah of Salat al-Istisqa. So it can either dua or can be salah, and the salah with the dua, of course the khutbah will have also that with some specific things mentioned here. So this is the first point. If people are in need, then it's to be done. And of course the purpose of the salah is to seek the provisions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course when the Prophet ﷺ did that, as the hadith says, there was not even qaz'a in the sama, meaning there was not even a small piece of cloud in the skies. And once the Prophet ﷺ made salam, the skies immediately became full of clouds and it rained abundantly. And with the dua of the Jumu'ah, when the Prophet ﷺ made dua when he was in the Jumu'ah, once the Prophet ﷺ went down from the pulpit, the skies were full of clouds and it rained abundantly for 7 days. Consecutive days. Till the next Jumu'ah, the man came, the same man, he said to the Prophet ﷺ, things are drowning and it's, the water is ruining our things and so on. And the Prophet ﷺ smiled, as it was said in the hadith, لِمَلَالَةِ النَّاسِ. He smiled because of how the human being is not in one thing, right? He gets bored quickly. He asked for water, he used the water, right? So it was too much, and then the Prophet ﷺ made dua that the water becomes around them, not on them. And to be على ملامة الشجر and so on, to be on the only to benefit them, like by the roots of the trees around them. And once the Prophet ﷺ made this dua, they said the rain became kal iklil, حول المدينة. The rain become like, al-iklil is like the, what's al-iklil? It's a well-known thing where it looks like a rainbow flower. Like a rainbow flower where they have it, that's al-iklil. Sometimes do they wear it or they put it? They put it as decoration, so it has like a, looks like a half circle with flowers on it. This is al-iklil. So the rain became like this, half a circle around the Medina, and not the Medina itself. But after the Prophet ﷺ made this dua. So this is with the dua, or the dua on the salah. It says, وَتُفْعَلُ كَصَلَاةِ الْعِيدِ فِي الصَّحْرَاءِ. وَتُفْعَل, meaning that it's to be done from al-fi'l, from the action, كَصَلَاةِ الْعِيدِ, like صلاة العيد. The kaf here, kaf al-tashbih, like صلاة العيد, meaning the time of صلاة العيد in the early morning, right? And the place of صلاة العيد في الصحراء, in the open. And the ulama, they talked about this with how or how people should they go, as it will be mentioned in some of the masail to come. But who to go out? It's like Salatul Eid. Everyone. Because everyone should show the need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the humbleness, right? Because they're seeking the provisions from Allah. So especially those who are more in need to be out to show the humbleness and the need and so on, like the children, like the old people, right? Some even said to bring the animals with them, because the animals are also suffering because there's no water. And they had different opinions. Should they bring also the disbelievers and so on? Most of them, they said no, because you know the dua. But the point of the water coming down is for everybody, and they are in need of it. So تفعل كصلاة العيد في الصحراء, to be done in the outside. ويخرج إليها, and then to go out to it, متخشعا متذللا متضرعا. This is the hal, or this is the situation of how the person should go out to such a salah. متخشعا, المتخشعا على وجه متفاعل, يعني يتكلف ذلك ويبالغ فيه, which means a person is in state of khushu', not a state of khushu' that comes like that. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, he just be normal. No, he should force himself. A person should be extreme in this. Force himself to be in state of khushu' and state of humbleness and the need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mutadallilan, the original of the root meaning of dhul is to be humiliated. To be humiliated is a bad thing when it's a human being with another human being. But the same thing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is not humiliation in a negative way. This is the highest level of ubudiyyah, highest level of servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's when the person be the most humble and the most humiliated. Humiliated, again, not what is humiliated when it comes to the worship of Allah. That he feels that he cannot do anything on his own. He has no power, he has no might whatsoever. And he would go and seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A person is humiliated in front of another human being. They might cry, they might say, please don't harm me, you know, things like this. Well, the same thing a person should be in his ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but not necessarily in the same way that a person will do to another human being. That means begging from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying, weeping, you know, things like this. Mutadadri'an from al-dara'a, which means the dua with so much dire need and extreme dua, too much dua, with no thoughts whatsoever of any materialistic things can help or help the person. In a situation like this, people are in desert and so on, and there's no signs of rain whatsoever. Physical means it doesn't work. There's no rain. There's nothing in the skies. Nothing is coming. So they are only taken, not physical means, they are taken only the religious means, turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely. So once there is some form of attachment in the heart to any physical means, then it doesn't work. Oh, well, you know, I'm making dua and everything, but you know, the wind it looks like it's bringing something, or maybe this is going to happen, or this is, no. Something that a person will do when there's no means whatsoever that he's hoping for, or anything attachment whatsoever, turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what متخشعا متذللا متضرعا. فيصلي ركعتين. And متضرعا, it's mentioned in the Quran of how the people should be when there's some form of difficulties afflict them. قد أرسلنا إلى أمم من قبلك ولقد أرسلنا إلى من قبلك فأخذناهم بالبأساء والضراء لعلهم يتضرعون. That we had sent to nations before you hardship and difficulties. For what reason? Why there's difficulties and hardships at some times and so on? The reason for that is that they would be in that state of at-tadarru', the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely. The human beings, they don't get it in a peaceful way, they don't get it in a spacious way, right? Then it's a good thing for them that sometimes these things will happen to them, so that they are basically forced to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, things that would make them or be reminded, and it becomes a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same thing when you look at the ummah of Muslims in general. If they don't turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey His orders, out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this ummah, sometimes calamities would afflict. So people would wake up and would feel and would see that no worldly means whatsoever would benefit them. No worldly means will give them victory or support or help or anything whatsoever, except that they will turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Then the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. So, فَيُصَلِّ رَكَعْتَيْنِ. So after this, فَيُصَلِّ, then praying 2 rak'ah. How is the 2 rak'ah? Some said it's like Salatul Eid, right? Since it's Salatul Eid, like the first rak'ah 7 takbirat, and the second rak'ah 5 takbirat. Some opinions, because the hadith did not mention that specifically, that is to be prayed like a normal 2 rak'ah. But the majority of the ulama is to be prayed like Salatul Eid. And of course, since there's khutbah, always as a rule, if there's a khutbah, that means the salah is loud and it's not silent. Every time there's a khutbah attached to it, Salatul Eid there's a khutbah, Salatul Jum'ah there's a khutbah, even though it's time of dhuhr, then it has to be the salah loud. So 2 rak'ah with the recitation loud. ثم يخطب خطبة واحدة. Then we make khutbah, only one khutbah. The Prophet ﷺ did make 2 khutbah, like Salatul Jum'ah. Salatul Jum'ah is 2 khutbah, one khutbah, then the Imam sits, and then the second khutbah. In Salatul Eid, there is differences of opinion. Although the Jumhur, the majority of the ulama, they say it's 2 khutbah in Salatul Eid, like Salatul Jum'ah, but Wallahu A'lam, the one that is, as the ulama they say, of course, the opinion that goes by the evidences strictly, it's only 1 khutbah. There is no evidence that Salatul Eid is 2 khutbah. So it should be 1 khutbah only. But again, the majority of the ulama, of the Jumhur, so it's an easy thing. If a person makes 2 khutbah, that's fine. But according to the hadith and so on, there's no evidence that it's 2 khutbah. So it's like Salat al-Eid, 1 khutbah in here, ثم يخطب خطبة واحدة. 1 khutbah only, يكثر فيها. And some said to start with the khutbah with takbir and so on, like Salat al-Eid. يكثر فيها, that means during the khutbah, he mentioned a lot frequently, al-istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, وقراءة الآيات التي فيها الأمر به. And reciting the verses in the Quran that talks about ordering the people to ask for forgiveness, because this is the means for the provisions to come. فقلت استغفروا ربكم إنه كان غفارا يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا. When Nuh alayhi salam said to his people that he ordered them to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send the rain on them. Midrara, meaning that it's an abundant means, right? If they would, that's why that when there is drought, when there is need of the people, it's because of what? It's because of the sins. So the salah is a sign of repentance, and that's why when they go out and so on, and people as it will come also, people should repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They should be ordered to do this before they even go to the salah. Anybody that has madhalim or any thing that he means of injustices, people are be encouraged to give back whatever you took from someone, forgive people, for people to have this means of goodness so that they receive the mercy of Allah, so that the sins does not deprive them from not having the provisions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ويكثر فيها الاستغفار وقراءة الآيات التي فيها الأمر به ويلح في الدعاء. And the khutbah to yulih means to be pushy, to beg and to keep on repeating it. That's what ilhah means, that when a person says something, he keeps on saying it. And if a person wants to see how a Muslim should be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his dua, we should learn from the children when they want something. A child, when he wants something, what does he do? He does not leave his parents, right? Especially if you know that the parents won't punish him. If they tell him, if you say it one more time, then he might be quiet. But if they don't threaten him by anything, he would be every second, can I have this? And he won't move. And he won't do anything unless he gets what he wants. This is how the Muslim should be begging from the dua from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful. And this is one of the reasons even white children that are like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them like this so that we witness in them how should be the act of worship and how should be the need. These children that are so sincere, they are so innocent, right? The only ones that they see in their life, for example, the father or the mother, and they know that they can do what they ask for, right? So that's why they ask in a very sincere way, right? And they keep on asking and so on. And even as you see, for example, the mother or so, if she punishes her child, you would find the child crying and he's going after her, not running away from her. He goes to her. Anyone else, if it's someone else, if he's beating someone, he runs away. But the mother, no. She do this and he goes to her, cries and under her feet. Which is why? Because of what he knows about his mother. So how about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful subhanahu wa ta'ala? So when a person is asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves for the people to keep on asking, to beg. This is something that even washes the hearts and purifies the soul, in which a person would feel the need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the means for people to be elevated is sometimes even the dua is not accepted right away. Why? So that people would keep on asking, elevating themselves, because the dua is definitely a winning situation. A person is gaining rewards from Allah, pushing away harm by just making the dua. Other harms might be destined for the person, but because of the dua, the harm is pushed away. And if people would see what's happening to them from the unseen when they make dua, they would constantly make dua about everything, about even the salt and the food, they would ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. So وَيُلِحُّ فِي الدُّعَاء, which is general in all means of dua, especially in this type of situation. وَلَا يَسْتَبْطِئُ الْإِجَابَةِ. Yastabti, he should, al-but is when something is slow, he should not be in haste. Yastabti al-ijaba, meaning the acceptance of the dua, he should not, what's the good word for it? Be in haste of the acceptance. He should not think that it's late, it's not happening.
Impatient?
Right? Impatient, right? He should not be impatient with the acceptance. You know, when he asks for the dua too much, he thinks that it's going to have to happen now, right? You know, he should not be like this. He should keep on making the dua or even repeating the salah. They made the salah, nothing happened, right? Then they can repeat the salah the next day, the next week or whatever, and 20 times, 30 times. This is they are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's a reason, there's a wisdom behind the dua is not accepted with what they asked for. So it's not necessarily that once they finish the salah, the rain comes. Sometimes it happens like this, and sometimes it's delayed for people to ask. And maybe there's something they need to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they need to look into themselves, and each person would see that he's the reason why there is no rain, because of his own sins. And then he says, وَيَنْبَغِي قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ إِلَيْهِ. يَنْبَغِي, meaning that it should be done قَبْلَ الْخُرُوجِ, before people go out for the salah. فعل الأسماء. That's why before they go out to it, that means people should make announcement of it. Tomorrow there will be Salat الإستسقاء in the morning. So then people prepare themselves for it before going out to it. فعل الأسباب التي تدفع الشر وتنزل الرحمة. Taking the means that push away evil and brings down the mercy. What are these means that people should take at all times, especially in these times of dire need? And the dire need is not just because there's drought. The dire need also when there's calamities and things like this. Al-istighfar. Istighfar, asking Allah for forgiveness, which is the main thing always. Why there is hardship, why there is difficulties, it's because of the sins. That's it. So what pushes away the sins is the istighfar. It's to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness sincerely. And we can say this clearly. And it's one of the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the whole ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they made a collective tawbah, right, from all sins, that's it. That's all. Then their affairs will be totally changed. Right? Why what's happening is because of the sins of the people. Somebody would say, but the kuffar, the disbelievers, they have worse sins and they are superior. Their set of rules is different for them. So this is only for those who took, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the covenant from them, they are to be treated different. The disbelievers, they enjoy their life, but then in the hereafter there's nothing except hellfire for them. But for someone to take the matter serious and to say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this is a covenant, right? That they have to fulfill the covenant. If they don't, then they will be afflicted, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, and they might then individually, in the day of judgment, they will be resurrected according to their intentions. But the overall help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole ummah, then it has to have this collective repentance. And that's why as Muslims, this is also one of the basic things to any Muslim, that we should all make istighfar, we should all ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. No Muslim will come and say, well, no, istighfar is not a good thing, for example, right? But still people would be turned away from the Deen, not seeking forgiveness from Allah. So to order people to make istighfar, the tawbah is to repent, and istighfar is to ask Allah for forgiveness. The tawbah is to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to fulfill the conditions of repentance, to leave the sin, to regret the sin, to have the strong intention that a person will do it again. If it's a sin has to do with dealing with people with one another, then they should forgive one another, pay back what he had taken from others, and al-huquq and the rights to be given to people. وَالْخُرُوجُ مِنَ الْمَظَالِمِ, which he mentioned specifically, not that it's mentioned with the tawbah, because this is a specific one. وَالْخُرُوجُ مِنَ الْمَظَالِمِ, to go out from al-mazalim, from any forms of injustices, whether it's physically or financially or one's ird and honor and dignity. Whether it's someone beat up someone or hurt someone physically, this is injustice. He has to get himself out of that situation by paying something, if there's something need to be paid of diya or something, asking for forgiveness. If it's financial, to pay back the money that a person took without the rights to do that. With the honor and dignity, whether it's backbiting, slandering, and so on, to ask for forgiveness, to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so on. So to go out of any mazalim. And the mazalim is not just to ones that are far away from us. It can be someone that is so close to you. It can be your children, it can be your wife, right? And it doesn't mean that a person has a child, he owns him, right? You can commit injustice against them, to the extent of which that the early generations of Islam, and they said when the muallim or the teacher, right, two children, they come to him, and one will tell him, whose handwriting is better? If he says you, and he was wrong, this is zulm. This is injustice. If he says, oh, your handwriting is better than his, and it's not really the case, this is zulm. Right? So to that extent, a person has to be careful. It's not because of their child, it doesn't matter. No, this is, zulm is forbidden with all levels. There's no case where it's permissible to make an unjust judgment or anything like that. وَالْخُرُوجُ مِنَ الْمَظَالِمِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ إِلَى الْخَلْقِ, and to be kind to people, giving charity. This is how Muslims are in these types of communities when they're ordered. There's the next day Salah, and people would be touched with the effect of the drought and everything, so they would give, and they would help, and they would give charity, things like this. وَغَيْرِهَا مِنَ الْأَسْبَابِ الَّتِي جَعَلَهَا اللَّهُ جَانِبَةً لِلرَّحْمَةِ, and more of the means that Allah had made that would bring the mercy of Allah, دَافِعَةً لِلْإِقْمَةِ, pushing away the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah. So, and this is for Salat al-Istisqa and for everything else. People should take these means. If they see calamities, if they see issues, then this is what they should be in haste in doing, because these means pushes away the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala onto the people. And the first hadith, which quoted by Imam Bukhari and others, حديث أنس رضي الله عنه أن الناس قد قحطوا في زمن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. People at the time of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, they were drought. فدخل رجل من باب المسجد. A man entered from the door of the masjid while the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was giving khutbah. And he said, يا رسول الله هلكت المواشي وخشينا الهلاك على أنفسنا. O Prophet of Allah, the animals have been dying, and we feel destruction on ourselves, death on ourselves. فَادْعُوا اللَّهَ أَنْ يَسْقِيَنَا. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he would يسقينا الإستسقاء, that he would give us from the water, meaning from the rain. فرفع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يديه. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم immediately raised his hands. فقال اللهم اسقنا, والله اسقنا. اسقنا means give us the suqya or the water. غيثا مغيثا هنيئا مريئا غدقا مغدقا عاجلا غير رائث, which means, and this is the masnoon or the recommended dua to be said in these types of situation. Wallah, give us the water. غيثا مغيثا. And غيث is the rain. مغيثا, that means that a rain that would save from destruction and so on. هنيئا مريئا, pleasant, fulfilling, right, abundant in abundance, immediately, not to be delayed. So this is the dua of the Prophet. So the narrator of the hadith, he says, مَا كَانَ فِي السَّمَاءِ قَزْعًا. There was not even the slightest piece of cloud in the skies. فَارْتَفَعَتِ السَّحَابِ مِنْ هُنَا وَمِنْ هُنَا. The sahab, ارتفع, meaning was risen. Because when you see the horizon, it's down, kind of. So it came from the horizon, and it became up high, from this side or from this side. حتى صارت ركاما, until it became like mountains of clouds. ثم مطرت سبعا من الجمعة إلى الجمعة. And it kept raining 7 days from the Jum'ah to the Jum'ah. ثم دخل ذلك الرجل. So the man, the next Jum'ah came. And he entered the masjid. And the Prophet ﷺ gave him khutbah. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يخطب والسماء تسكب. And the skies is تسكب, pouring, right? It's pouring, that means it's not just any rain. فقال يا رسول الله, the man said, يا رسول الله تهدم البنيان وانقطعت السبل فادعوا الله أن يمسكها. O Prophet of Allah, the buildings are destroyed and the paths are, we cannot go from one place to the other because it's too much rain. فادعوا الله أن يمسكها, mean dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he hold it. فتبسم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم smiled لملالة بني آدم, because of how God bored the human beings. They always change from one state to the other. The Prophet ﷺ smiled. قال الراوي, the narrator of the hadith, he said, والله ما نرى في السماء خضراء, that they didn't see, immediately the sama was full of stars, right? Totally clouded. ثم رفع, the Prophet ﷺ raised his hand again, and he said, اللهم حوالينا ولا علينا, Allah around us and not on us. اللهم على الأكام والثراب والبطون الأودية ونابت الشجر. Allah, on the different parts where it's the rain or the water can run into the fields, the passage of waters, not on the people, but still the rain should come, but in ways that it would benefit the people. And the valleys, and where the roots of the trees. So he says, فَانْجَابَتِ السَّمَاءُ عَنِ الْمَدِينَةِ. So the skies or the clouds cleared immediately from Medina, and it became clear. It became like this half a circle thing around Medina. So this was only dua, right? And that's why, according to the madhab of Imam Hanifa rahimahullah, that the sunnah, what is recommended in an istisqa, is to be only dua, without salat, without going out. Because the second hadith maybe was not reached them or so, because the other hadith, and this is the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, and it's a sound hadith reported by Abu Dawud and others, when the people also complained to the Prophet ﷺ with regards to the drought, there was no rain, so the Prophet ﷺ ordered and gave the time for the people that they would meet outside the next morning, حين بدا حاجب الشمس. Once the first sign of the sun comes out, right by sunrise, that they would meet outside for the salah and the dua. So the Prophet ﷺ gave the khutbah and he said, إِنَّكُمْ شَكَوْتُمْ جَدْبَ دِيَارِكُمْ. You had been complaining or saying about the drought of your homes, وَاسْتِخَالُ الْمَطَرِ عَنْ إِبَّانِ زَمَانِهِ عَنْكُمْ, that the rain is late. When it's time for the rain to come, but it was late. The season of the rain, but there was no rain. وَقَدْ أَمَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ أَن تَدْعُوهُ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered you to make dua to Him. وَوَعْدَكُمْ أَن يَسْتَجِيبَ لَكُمْ, and He promised you that He would accept your dua. ثم قال الحمد لله رب العالمين. The Prophet said, الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين لا إله إلا الله يفعل ما يريد. لا إله إلا الله, Allah do whatever He wills. اللهم أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الغني ونحن الفقراء Oh Allah, this is also recommended for the Imam also to say this dua and people to mean it. Oh Allah, there is no one worthy of worship except you. You are the most rich, and we are the fuqara, the one in need. أنزل علينا الغيث. Bring down on us al-ghayth, the rain. And this is one of the names of the rain because it saves the lives of the people and so on. وَاجْعَلْ مَا أَنزَلْتَ لَنَا قُوَّةً وَبَلَاغًا إِلَى حِينٍ. And give what comes down on us strength and give us the benefit of it till whatever time or limit. Then the Prophet ﷺ رفع يديه فلم يزل في الرافع حتى بدا بياض إبطيه. Prophet ﷺ kept raising his hand till the whiteness of his armpit became clear. That means he raised his hand all the way high. And this is the raise of, as they call it, al-ibtihal. And this is when a person would raise his hand like this when they are in dire need. Normal dua, a person would raise his hand under his face, right? But if there is a calamity necessity, this is where it's recommended for the person to raise his hand all the way up. And this is from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. ثم حول إلى الناس ظهره. Then the Prophet ﷺ, after he was facing the people, he gave him his back. وقلب أو حول رداءه وهو رافع يديه. While he's facing the Qibla and he's back to the people, حول رداءه. The Prophet ﷺ moved around his rida, his cloak, and how is that? To make what's on the right on the left and what's on the left on the right. Not that he flipped it upside down, no, he made it around. Right? He flipped it around. You understand? And of course the cloak is easy to be taken out and to be flipped around. If a person is wearing thobe like this, there's nothing to be done. Right? But if a person is wearing, for example, anything that can move, like shimal or anything like that, then people can change it. But, or if there is anything around them, like a cloak or something like that, then it should be changed. But the qamis, no. So this is also from the Sunnah for people to do this. And it's, Prophet ﷺ did it, and as if it's a sign of their situation is changed. Same way their clothes is changed, then their situation is to be changed also. They are in drought, and then the rain will come. ثم أقبل على الناس. Then the Prophet ﷺ turned back to the people. ونزل after the khutbah فصلى ركعتين. He prayed 2 rak'ah after the khutbah. فأنشأ الله سحابة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a cloud فرعدت وبرقت, made thunder and lightning. ثم أمطرت بإذن الله تعالى. Then it rained by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فلم يأتي مسجده صلى الله عليه وسلم حتى سالت السيول. They were outside of the Medina. By the time the Prophet ﷺ came to his masjid, it was flooding, right, because of the rain. فلما رأى صوعتهم إلى الكلن ضحك. When the Prophet ﷺ saw them how they're running to shield themselves from the rain, right, to protect themselves from the rain, the Prophet ﷺ smiled حتى بدت نواجذه, till his canine showed, smiling of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of the signs of Allah. فقال أشهد أن الله على كل شيء قدير وأني عبد الله ورسوله. I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of all things, and I am the slave of Allah and His messenger. So this is with the action, the salah and the dua. And the famous tradition that people are always, or it's always used to see that the tawassul, when a person would make dua with tawassul, seeking some intercession, that is to be done only by the dua of the righteous ones, not by human beings or the dead people. So people are in drought and rain, so should they go to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ and ask, O Prophet of Allah, help us, or O Prophet of Allah, ask Allah for us for rain? They never done that after the Prophet ﷺ. Should they go to the grave of a righteous man to do this? This is all means of shirk. What did they do, the Sahaba after the Prophet ﷺ? In the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet ﷺ is few steps away from them in his grave. Umar radiallahu anhu, when they asked for rain, the Umar radiallahu anhu istasqa bil Abbas. He asked the rain by the Abbas. Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, and he's still alive, right? And he said, Allahumma inna kunna idha qahabna tawassalna ilayka bi nabiyyik fatasqina wa inna natawassalu bi ammi nabiyyika tasqina fayusqina. He would say, and this is the dua of Umar right there by the Prophet ﷺ. He said, oh Allah, we used to, whenever we are drought, we would ask or seek the tawassul by the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning here by the Prophet ﷺ is what? Did they say, oh Allah, by our Prophet give us rain? It was never mentioned. Meaning by the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ would make dua and then they would receive rain. Because taken the words like this literally from the sentence, it can mean more than one thing. Whoever decided from the beginning that they want to seek intercession by human beings, they take this and they apply it on what their actions are. But for the people of the truth, okay, what does the sentence mean? Then let's go see what they used to do with the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ would make dua and say, Ameen. This is the tawassul that they used to do by the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, because the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, of course, is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when they are in Salat al-Istisqa with the Prophet ﷺ, inside of them that this is one of the means for the dua is to be accepted, it's through the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. And then he said he could have said, as those people who take the evidence that it's okay to ask from the Prophet ﷺ after he died ﷺ. Umar, he could have said, Allah, we seek intercession by the Prophet ﷺ now to give us rain. But instead he said, and now we are natawassal, we're seeking intercession, the means by the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, meaning Al-Abbas is present. That means he will make dua. Al-Abbas, by the dua of Al-Abbas, فَاسْقِنَا, or Allah then give us the rain, so they would have the rain. And the same thing, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, istasqa bi-Yazid ibn al-Aswad. He asked for rain from one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, Allahumma inna nastasqi bi khayrina wa afdalina. O Allah, we seek the rain by the best of us and the most virtuous among us, right? And he will do that, and people get rain and so on. With those who are alive, that's why it's permissible to seek intercession by the dua of a righteous person that is alive, right? Not by someone that passed away. So, we'll start inshallah this point with this part of the fiqh.